Hey everybody, Tonia Reeves here at Animal Dreaming Radio Show. It is Tuesday here in Victoria. It's Melbourne Cup Day, so I don't know how many of you will be around listening today, but then we're all kind of stuck in lockdown here in Melbourne, so yeah, that's just how it is. So I'm just waiting for Patricia. We just had a bit of a glitch with her being able to access the show, so we will wait and go, okay, let's see if we can get Patricia on. Hopefully we can. You know, we've got our fingers crossed because sometimes, as we know, technology is not our friend. And I'm really excited to connect with Patricia today because she's an amazing author. She's got this great book out. It's called Stargazer, and I highly recommend it. It is a children's book, but I tell you what, it was a lot of fun. I've read it myself, and I think with all that's been happening energetically and what people are going through at the moment, I think it's a real gift to be able to pick up a book where you can really stretch your imagination and embrace that childlike sense of wonder and fun. And Patricia's captured that in this book. It's so fantastic. So I'm hoping that, fingers crossed, she will be able to join us soon and come on board. So I'm going to be patiently here waiting, but I'm going to also have my fingers crossed because we know what technology can be like. Hi, Francis. How are you? Hello. I love Nanagoon. It is so beautiful over there. Absolutely amazing. Have you got room around you, Francis? Because it's pretty country. It's a country area, I believe, down that way as well. You're on the other side of Victoria from me. And from memory, I have done a bit of travelling, but I'm a little bit trying to remember the exact specifics on areas. But I do, from memory, I feel like Nanagoon launching place area. So correct me if I'm wrong because I'd love to hear. Thank you all for connecting in. We love the fact that you take time out on a Tuesday to join us on a radio show. And we've had some amazing authors and I feel really honoured to be able to interview so many talented souls. So, yeah, it's been fantastic. And hopefully we can get Patricia on today. That would be great. Oh, Francis, lots of grass and rescue animals. How awesome. Francis, well done. How amazing. You can't beat a rescue animal whatsoever. And Tanis from Canada, good afternoon, or actually, is it good evening there, I believe, in Canada? We're here it's kind of lunchtime here in Victoria, Australia, so that's where we're at. We're also excited to chat a little bit about our conference coming up next year. We're really excited. The borders are slowly getting reopened, so we've got our fingers crossed that we can all head to up to the Gold Coast here in Australia. And I do believe if Scott and Trudy are allowed out of the country next year, they'll also be offering the workshop over in Canada. So Tanis, you'll be right. You'll be able to join in the Writers' Conference, which I can highly recommend, whether you're necessarily ready to write your book or want to just prepare and learn from some of the best in the industry. So it will be a lot of fun. And I know we have a lot coming along next year here in Australia. So we're going to have a really massive event and it's going to be so much fun. I can't wait. I really can't wait. Maria Alita is part of the team as well, and she is amazing and I can't wait I haven't had the honour of meeting her yet, but I can't wait. So it's a bit exciting. I'm hoping poor Patricia is able to join us. So I've got my fingers crossed because it's an amazing book. Jacinta, how are you? You would love this. Hugo would love this. This is amazing. But again, very similar to our gorgeous author last week. Stargazer is quite a spiritual book and it really does connect with the, the spiritual side of animals. It's about a little rabbit and how he connects with a classroom of students, and it's really cool. Like it really teaches them not teaches them, I suppose. Kids are already in their moment, aren't they? Like they're already in that wonderland, and that's really what this book is about. It's really amazing and a lot of fun. So let's have a look. I've got Patricia's just sent me. I'm going to try emailing her and connect. Tanis, you met Scott and Trudy last year. Awesome. How was that at Carmel's Ranch? That would be absolutely amazing. And I can't wait. We were meant to be at Carmel's Ranch this year, and unfortunately it didn't, of course, with just let me, I'm going to do a little, send poor Patricia another link because, we love technology. Oh dear. I have to say it's been really challenging for me, and I know, we've had retrograde and a lot of stuff happening, but it's just sometimes things just don't always go to plan, and today's just going to be one of those days. So we're just rolling with it. So share in the feed. I'd love to hear from you. I'm here in Melbourne. We've got Tanis from Canada and Jacinta from Melbourne, Francis from Nanogoon with the rescue animals. So, yeah, please share your story. How's your week been for everybody? Like, it's been crazy energy around at the moment. I've had, even for me personally, it's been like a lot of challenges and a lot of things coming up that I need to work on, and a bit of healing and a bit of digging deep on getting triggered with things. And I know there's a lot of other people that I've spoken to that have been the same as well. So, yeah, share what you're going through at the moment. Is there, you're having struggles? Are there things that are coming up for you? Because I think sometimes when we share things and we have that that connection as a group, we're all, as a collective, we're all gathered here together, and there's no coincidence that we're all joined here on this show even today. So, yeah, share what's happening for you, because I think it'll be really fascinating to see that collectively, it doesn't just happen to us on our own. We certainly go through things together, and I think that's been a real common thread for me. We're doing readings for people. It's been, a lot of things similar. I've had website dramas. I've had, my Facebook being hacked, and just things that have kind of created a challenge that I've had to really work on. And, I think for a lot of us at the moment, there's a lot of things around that, are creating that bit of a challenge, and we're being really made to look at things differently and, coming at things from a different angle. So rather than blaming situations or other people around us, we have to own it. And I know for me that's been challenging because I don't like to own everything. Yeah. The inner work sucks, doesn't it? Like, or am I just the only one that thinks that, So, yeah, Tanis, I love that. Focusing on your work, shadow self. Absolutely. There's a lot of shadow stuff coming up at the moment for people, and I, for one, can relate to that, and we really do need to address it, because it's like we don't want it to keep happening, and as hard as that is, we can't shy away from it. And I think that's a really big message at the moment. We can't shy away from what it is we need to address within ourselves, and we all have it. There's no perfect human that doesn't experience that. But I suppose we needed to share it today to let everybody know that, we're not on our own here. There's certainly a lot of us that are experiencing the same thing. Mary Ann's put here lots of energy around, yeah, especially with the full moon. Absolutely. We've had the blue moon, so it's an unusual and rare thing. And I love that saying, once in a blue moon. It's kind of like a real thing that we tend to throw around, and now we've just experienced that. So I'm like, energetically, hopefully that what we're going through now is once in a blue moon. Fingers crossed. All right, I've sent Patricia the link out again, so I'm hoping that we can, that will work. It's funny how things happen, I suppose the challenges that we face. So at the moment, it's not unusual to be challenges in technology. So I don't know if anyone else is having that, but yeah, it's interesting. Hi, Rosemary. Thanks for joining us. Another Alberta, Canada. Lovely soul. We can't wait to get over there. Over here in Australia, we're just hanging out to be able to travel overseas again, and it's not looking likely this year, and even next year's a little bit iffy, but we've all got our fingers crossed and going, let's bring the energy to hopefully emerge out of this bigger and better than ever and get on to doing what we need to be doing. Francis loved Anne. Yes, I loved Anne last week. How amazing was she? And I really think that, supporting her and her work is so paramount. She's just incredible. And her book is an absolute gift. I'm like, I want to buy Anne's books and just spread them around to all the local primary schools, because I think, you know, that it's such a gift what she has. And I think we were all moved last week from her so raw and honest and open approach to her work. And I just think that's fantastic. And that's why I was excited to get Patricia on today, for her to be able to share, because I think we've got a similar, you know, we have a similar lady that should be here joining me today, but isn't quite here yet. So, yeah, Jacinda's put here, yeah, it's a great opportunity for old stuff to surface and to be released. I agree. So for many of you that are having that happen around at the moment, where there's things that that are coming up that need to be worked on, then please take the opportunity to do the work. And that can be sometimes just taking a walk out in nature, connecting to the trees, or as Scott shares, looking at the messages from the animals. We've been away and just came back today, and I had a little bee in the grass, and, you know, like, since connecting with Scott and Trudy, and the animals have now become even more obvious. And I think many of us can relate with this show that, you know, since we listened to Scott and his messages from the animals, and we can't help but then notice the animals that are around us and go, you know, what are the messages here? And we had some amazing little ducks, a mum and dad duck, you know, and the dad looks after the babies as well as the mum. And it was just beautiful. They were just hanging around because we were camped near a river, and it was just lovely to experience that and see the animals and really take notice. And it's like, I've got to have Scott's book on hand so I can go, oh, what does that mean? So that was a great reminder. And I also have Scott's book, the one that goes with his cards. I have as a small book, you know, I have that with me as well, so I often refer to that. So Patricia's here, she might have access. All fingers crossed. Come on, Patricia, I really want to share. I want to share this story. It's so good. I'm not good at showing things equally on the show, as in trying to make it look that you can see it. I think that's right. Anyway, so yay. So hopefully, fingers crossed, Patricia might be happening on. I'm going, woohoo, let's bring that on. I'm sure she will. I'm keeping the faith here. Hi, Jen from BC and Canada, Victoria. G'day, how you going? Hi from Australia. We're just waiting on. I'm pretty confident we're going to get Patricia on here. Awesome. Tanis Scott said one of my animals was a kookaburra. Oh, wow. That's amazing. So it's not seen a lot outside of Australia. Yeah, I love Scott's books and cards are great, and you really want to have them on you, because when you start to notice the animals around and we start to really take notice of their messages and what they mean, it's really powerful. I've just completed some artwork on a deck of cards, and the animals that came through, and I'm like, of course, being attached to animal dreaming, that would happen. The animals would come through. Scott was like, yes, no surprises. And that was pretty cool. Oh, yes, we have Patricia. Yay, everybody. Hang in there. Thank you for persevering. She's here. Hello.
Hi, I've done it on my my husband.
You robbed me of my computer.
You have to share now.
Oh, gosh. Thanks, Tonia.
No worries at all. The good thing is I could talk my way out of anywhere, Patricia. So, it was like easy for me just to pass the time away talking. It's a gift that I have that serves me well, I have to say. Welcome to the show, Patricia. I'm very excited. I have read the book, and I'm just really excited to hear about your journey and how this book came about, and what was your inspiration? So I'm just going to let you chat now, because I haven't stopped talking for the whole time. So it's your turn.
It's my turn. Okay. Gosh, I'm just seeing if I can get myself up on the screen a bit bigger, but that's fine. Okay. My inspiration was a class of youth Reeves that I taught way back in 1990. And a lot of the children in this class were refugees from Afghanistan and Lebanon. And their knowledge of English was very, very basic. So I had to come up with a plan to get them interested and get them talking. And I had no idea what to do. And one day I wandered into a toy shop in the local shopping centre, and I found a toy rabbit. And as soon as I saw him, I knew that he was the answer to my problem. So I took him home, and in those days I was doing a lot of meditation. And I sat and meditated, and lo and behold, I got lots of ideas just flooding in. And one of them was that this rabbit was, his name was Stargazer, and he was really a little extraterrestrial that was going to come to Earth to teach the children and learn Earth ways. And the whole story just spread out like magic from there. It was just incredible. Yeah.
I love that. And you can actually, having read the book, you can feel that spiritual aspect coming up. Like, I love the way that you described, you know, being able to communicate without words. And that makes sense, obviously, with those students, that you were able to help them connect into that. And I think that's really powerful.
Yes, it is. And I think when I finally got round to writing the book, I mean, it took me, gosh, 25, 26 years before I finally got it into print. Nothing like a long pregnancy, a bit like an elephant or something. Yeah, I think what I realized when I finished the book was there's a thread that runs through it, and it's the thread of acceptance, forgiveness, and compassion. And it's so powerful. It blows me away. Every time I read the book or reread the book, I still get this wonderful connection with all these beautiful values that wrote themselves into the book. I mean, there were things that happened with the children. As you say, there's this non-verbal communication. And I set it up so that when the children finally got to meet the rabbit, they were accepting that they wouldn't hear any words audibly. It would all be internally in their heads, like telecommunication, or I don't know what you would call it. Can't think of the word at the moment. And so when he finally appeared, the children encouraged me. They said, well, you're the one that knows how to talk to him. We'll say something. So I sat there with my fingers and toes crossed and sort of welcomed the rabbit. And then, of course, I had to sort of put my head down and pretend to be listening to the rabbit. And the children just accepted that magic. It was a very, I used the term sacred space that we had in that classroom for 6 weeks when the rabbit was there. And the rabbit's here beside me. So if I bring him over.
Oh, we would love to see the rabbit. Bring the rabbit on. Oh, beautiful. Francis is going to love this. Oh. Awesome. So where did you find him? So you said you found him, he was just in a shop?
He was in a toy shop, and I walked past a whole lot of teddy bears, and that wasn't a teddy bear I had to get. I walked past dolls, no. And then I'm sure you've had the experience of being in a shop when something sort of falls off the shelf, like a book falls off the shelf and you know you've got to get it. And this rabbit, he was the only one sitting on the shelf. And as soon as I saw him, I just knew I had to, he was the one. And for me, he's really special. And for the children, he was special. He was special too. So I'll sit him down. So yeah, so magical, absolutely magical.
So can we expect a second, like, Stargazer? Have we got one in the making, the next book?
There's another book in the making, but I haven't got Stargazer in it. I'm not sure yet whether he'll actually appear in it. I'm working on another children's book, which will have short stories. The sort of story that maybe goes for 5 or 10 minutes so that children can read them before they go to bed at night, so that they go to bed with something positive in their heads. Nothing, it sort of takes them away from any stresses and anxieties they've had during the day. So it's based on more toys. I've always had a love of my soft toys. I've still got my original teddy bear, so he's well into his 70s. And he's one of the characters that relates his story in the book. So when it will finally see the light of day, I don't know, but I suppose time's marching on, so I'll maybe need to get myself into gear.
Now that you've proclaimed this on the show, you watch
I
everything.
know. Scott will be on at me. I know he will.
and I always think that driver, it's almost like, when you put it out to the universe, yes, there is one coming. It's like then all of a sudden the universe makes you accountable, and suddenly you'll be in that zone going, oh, I'm moving on with it.
Absolutely. And I give all credit to Scott for being the one that really gave me that push to get the book written, because if you remember, Tonia, in the book there's a chapter called Fire.
Yeah. And
this was something that actually happened to me and the children at the school. My classroom was firebombed. It just so happened I was closest to the road. So a Molotov cocktail was thrown through my classroom window, and a lot of damage was done. And I took the children into another room so that they could have a week just to process what had happened. And what I write about in the book is what I actually did with the children. I gave them the space to connect with their feelings. I talked about my feelings. We did drawings, and it cleared the air and it helped the children to move on. But for myself, I had already started to write the story, and I had done the first 5 chapters. But the firebombing was so traumatic that I just put the manuscript away, and I wouldn't look at it. And it didn't see light of day again until early 2013, when Scott came over to Perth with Maria Elita. Perhaps you know Maria.
Yeah, I've heard. Yes, I haven't met her yet, but
yes,
I've heard.
And the two of them were doing a workshop in Perth, and one of the parts of the workshop where we had to meditate, get into a space of what the universe wanted us to do for 2013, and we were just to write down the first 3 things that we got. Well, I sat and I meditated, I picked up my pen and I wrote. And when I looked at what I'd written, the number 1 thing was finish Stargazer. And you can imagine my reaction. I was stunned, absolutely stunned. And then synchronicity works, because Scott and Maria, 6 weeks after that, were doing a writer's retreat at the Gold Coast, on the Gold Coast. So I took the step and I said, okay, I'll come over. So I went over, feeling very nervous, because up till then, it'd only been my husband and my parents that knew anything at all about what I had written. So to expose yourself in a group of people that you don't know was huge. But the confidence I got from Maria and Scott, just when they read the manuscript, they said, it's brilliant, you've just got to finish it. And so I did. I finished it by the end of the year. I set myself a goal that I would finish by the end of 2013. And in fact, at 5:30 on the 31st of December, I wrote my last sentence. And the last sentence I had known about for months. Months previously, I saw the words written, and I knew how my book would end, but I had no idea how I would get there. So I can't explain it. It's just one of these things that was meant to happen, and I was meant to be the physical person that wrote it down and finally got it into print. So
that's exciting. Well, and what an exciting story. That's very inspirational because I think sometimes you can find that with writing, or, you know, like when you're sharing something that moves you to the point of, you know, like you were saying with the fire incident, like there are points where you do get stuck, and it's a little bit like, do I really want to keep going with this, or can I deal with that? And that's pretty powerful that you went back to that with something, you know, that's a fair bit of trauma for not only yourself but your whole class.
Yes. And it'd be interesting, there's a sort of footnote to that, because on my way back from at the retreat, Scott spoke to me and asked me why I had delayed writing it. And I explained about the fires. And he said, you've got to put something about that in the book. And I thought, oh dear, can I? Will I? Shall I? Should I? But really, something bigger than me took over, because on the way back from the Gold Coast to Perth, it was the most shocking flight that I've ever been on. There was a storm, there was thunder and lightning crashing, and I'm not a very good traveler when it comes to airplanes. So I thought, well, what can I do to take my mind off this? So I got out my notebook and I thought, okay, there's electricity buzzing all around. I'll write about the fire. So on the few hours that it took from the Gold Coast to Perth, I wrote the whole chapter about the fire, chapter that is in the book.
Wow.
Yeah. And the weight that was lifted from my shoulders when I stepped off the plane was amazing. It was just amazing. And I realized that what Scott had said was hang on, absolutely.
You knew that you're on the right foot with that. So that's
yes, and you know, being able to, I had done enough personal growth work for myself that when the fire happened, I knew that I had to help the children, and the only way that I could do it was by allowing them to see that I was upset and had, you know, how it had impacted me. And so just by encouraging them to pick up any coloured crayon, and I said, it doesn't have to be a picture, it can be squiggles, it can be anything at all. And it helped them. I'm quite convinced it helped them to move on. So it's strange how you think that something is awful, but there's always a silver lining. It's like what's happening in the world today. If we change our perspective, there's something positive we can find. You know, that cliche about the silver lining is so powerful.
Yeah.
Gets me every time. I can hear it in my voice.
It's beautiful. That's such a profound message for, for what's happening, like you say, around the world, and for many people at the moment to keep that faith that there is, that there is that hindsight, and you can almost look at things a little bit differently, isn't it? Rather than be dragged into that, that specific, I suppose, mindset. We're a little bit influenced by media and other things where we can be dragged down that rabbit warren of negativity compared to trying to look at the positives.
Yes, absolutely. And I think just now I'm watching less and less television. I sort of maybe see 5 minutes of news and then that's it. I don't want to watch anymore. So I've been doing more reading. I've been out in my garden. I've been catching up with friends, and it's been lovely. And here in WA, we've been so fortunate that we've had a lot of freedom that other people in other parts of Australia haven't had. So it's to find that sense of gratitude as well. And always at the end of the day, when I go to bed, I'm sort of lying there and think, okay, what 3 things I'm really grateful for today? And it's amazing because it lifts you if you can realize that we do have blessings in our lives, and small things can make a huge difference. Just a smile to somebody or a kind word, it makes a huge difference. So
absolutely. So who's been a big influence for you, Patricia, throughout your life? So, as far as obviously you're retired now, but you were teaching there for many years.
Yes, I taught for over 40 years, actually, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But when I was coming up to retirement, I felt, yes, it was the right time to retire. But I've been very fortunate because I've taught not only in different countries. I started off in England, teaching in England, and then I came out to Australia as a 10-pound pom in the 60s. So I taught in Tasmania and in New South Wales and in Perth. And during that time, I met my future husband, and he's Swedish. And we lived in Sweden when we got married. I lived in Sweden for 10 years. And then we decided we'd come out to Australia, and we came out in 81. And we've been here since then, and very happy. Living out in a rural area, not a big property, but we've got a nice garden. And
beautiful.
Yes, it's been lovely. And I've been fortunate that I've taught in state schools. And the interesting thing when I look back on it is that I've taught in Jewish schools, I've taught in a Muslim school, and I've taught in the Catholic system, and I have learned heaps from all these different schools and these different beliefs, and I feel it's enriched my life and certainly broadened my horizons, because when I went into some of the schools, I had very stereotypical ideas about, like the Jewish religion and the Muslim religion, Islam. And what I found was that the children are the same wherever they are over the world. There's always that heart connection with the children. And I found that those people that lived the spirit of their beliefs rather than their dogmas and their rules were inspiring. And I feel very blessed that I made many good friends in the Muslim community and in the Jewish community. And the Catholic system was new to me as well. I was brought up in the Church of Scotland, and that was very, very regimented. And shame on me, I remember yelling at the Catholic children on their way to Mass, and I'm appalled, you know, and I feel, oh, how was she that did that? So it's this understanding and acceptance and compassion for other people. You've got no idea what people's lives are like unless you're prepared to take the time to sit and talk to them and ask them questions. You just don't know, no idea at all. And it's like, I was reading something the other day about homeless people, and it was somebody in America. It was a minister who was going to go into a new church, and he decided that he wanted to try an experiment. So he disguised himself as a homeless person, and he sat outside the church and tried to speak to people as they went in, and everybody ignored him. When he went into the church, he sat at the front, and people told him to sit at the back. And finally, when the elders in the church announced that the new pastor or minister was here, this homeless man stood up and walked to the front of the church, and you could have heard a pin drop. And then, of course, he spoke to them about the teachings of Jesus. You know, I can't remember the exact words, but you know, I was homeless, you took me in. I was, you know, naked, you clothed me. I was hungry, you fed me. And it's like, yes, how often do we pass people in the street or in the shopping centres, and we do a quick judgment? And I know I still do. But I know that I've learned along the way to not judge so quickly. It's so important because, you know, just that kind word or that acknowledgement, so a person is seen and heard, to change their lives. And in these times of so much mental health issues, for people to know that they matter is vital, absolutely vital. So,
and that's a powerful thing that we could all take that on board, you know, because like you say, just the odd smile. I mean, it's hard for us in Victoria at the moment with all our masks on. It's really interesting.
Of course.
You want to smile. Well, you're smiling with your eyes, so it's kind of like we're really connecting. And you really want to exaggerate it. It's like, you know, when you're aware that they can't see your mouth, it's like you're really like squinting. I'm like say, look, I'm smiling at you. I made eye contact today with a young lady, and she had a daughter with her, and the daughter was going crazy. Was just in at the petrol station, and I'm a real kid magnet, so the crazier kids are the ones that I always I have a pull towards, because I'm like, I totally get it. They just, you know, they're trying to be under control, but they're not, and it's quite funny. And I just looked at the mum and I'm laughing because I'm just thinking, oh, that would be my child too, like the one doing that. So monkeying around, you know, it was nice to give her that smile and to just say, look, I get it. Don't, you know, I'm not looking here and going, oh my God, that kid's going crazy. I was just like, you know, being sympathetic towards her and having that bit of a laugh. And you do realise that when you have that, you know, when your mouth is covered, it's like, I'm smiling. I really am smiling with my eyes.
And I think that's really important, because some people will smile with their mouths, but there's absolutely nothing in their eyes. So maybe the mask wearing is a lesson for people to really make the smile spread up from their mouth into their eyes. And if the eyes are the windows to your soul, what better way of connecting with people?
Yeah, beautiful. And such a powerful message. Thank you for sharing that with us, because we love to get inspired here on Tuesday radio show. It's like I absolutely feel honoured when I'm connecting with talents like yourself, and for you to share your wisdom is so cool. And everyone's commenting in the feed, and even Scott's there. Beautiful and powerful words from Patricia, which is lovely.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, I've been looking at some of the radio interviews, and I saw the one that you did with Anne Harvey the other
Yes.
day. Oh, Anne's lovely, and she's so dedicated to flame her dragon. So that's beautiful.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
And actually, Frances, that was my next question, Frances, and she's on the money here. So I'm tipping Frances is quite psychic as well. What about Stargazer cards? Because I was thinking that even as I was reading your book, I'm like, these are affirmations for children. Like this book could really be a flow on of little affirmation cards for young
Ah,
ones.
right. Okay. I shall make note of that. Thank you.
Because
Yes.
I think you're right, like, and there's so many, I know in the work that I deal with, there's a lot of children that are outside the square, that think differently, that that feel a bit marginalized, that would cards that connect to the message from this book would be so profound for young children, even adults. So I
Yes.
think
Yes.
you could definitely do a great creation, Patricia. So Frances and I and Tanis is there going, yeah, but we're all homing in on that. That sounds like a great idea.
Okay. Oh, wow. Oh, that's lovely.
There we go. So watch out, 2021. We'll be having Patricia back on, and I'll be making sure I tag you, Frances and Tanis, if you're not on that show, to go, oh, we've got some cards coming out here.
I'll
love it.
certainly look into that. Yeah, it's interesting because when I wrote the book, I thought it would be geared to primary school children, and then as I went to markets and went to talks in libraries and shops and things like that, I began to realize that younger children would also enjoy it. So now when I promote the book at markets, I say it's suitable for ages from 4 to 100.
Yeah.
Because 4-year-olds can have a chapter read to them every night. So they go to bed, as I said before, feeling uplifted. And then independent readers, primary school children can get something out of it. Teenagers, probably not so much. But then once you get past the teenage years, the number of people that have bought it for their children or grandchildren, read it themselves, and come back to the market the following month and saying, my God, I loved the book. I just adored it. It took me right back to my childhood. So these are the comments that I treasure, because I've always believed that the people that are meant to read the book will read the book. Mm-hmm. So I totally accept that it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm just delighted that people are coming up and loving the book. And now, gosh, Stargazer's in America, he's in Denmark, Sweden, Scotland, England, Holland, South America. He's all over the place now. So it's like, wow. This little bunny rabbit certainly gets around.
That's so cool. And I'm not surprised at all, because I found it, I thought it was great. Once you start reading it, you can't put it down. And I think now more than ever, we with all the heaviness that is around to a degree, with people going through different things with lockdown and what's happening, we kind of looking towards getting into that, the magical realm of reading something that transports you to somewhere else. I think is really perfect timing, especially, now more so than ever, I think, for all of us, adults alike. And that's what I found it did for me. So it was great to be able to, just be taken back to that childlike sense of wonder and fun and imagination.
Yes, it was exciting because as I wrote the book, there were things that I wrote that are in the book didn't happen with the children in the class. And two of the children appear as characters in the book. They were real. The little girl who's who's scared. She was a definite character in my classroom. And the boy, Rain, I changed his name slightly, but he was a really witted child, a beautiful child. So it was fun sort of remembering the personalities of the children and working them in. But what I was going to say was, when I finished the book, I realized there were so many things that are relevant to today's children, like children with learning difficulties, children of divorced parents, children who have perhaps lost a parent, all these different things. And it's like, I'm very humbled. I really am, and I don't say that lightly. I'm very humbled that these things got written into my books so that other people can read and absorb and take away a powerful message that things can change. And it was beautiful to write. But I must say, when I reread it and I come to the last chapter, I have a box of tissues handy.
Yes. I agree.
I haven't bought the book, but yes. Oh dear.
If you want to be enchanted and to connect with all your emotions and feelings, this book is fantastic, and I think we all need to do that. So it's a great way to encompass all of those feelings that we do have, and sometimes we do shut down or not actually own it. So I think that part of the book and reading it is fantastic.
Yes, thank you, Tonia. Yeah,
that's awesome. I love it. Well, we did it. We actually, Patricia, we got on. We made this show happen. How cool are we? Like,
yes,
both of us are a bit technology challenged, and we did it. So I think that's a pretty good team effort.
Absolutely, yeah. Yes, I'm really grateful to my husband that he stepped in, and I just suddenly thought, if I use his computer, maybe his computer will let me in, whereas mine won't. It's all good.
I love it. Yeah, that's awesome. And so thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come on the show, and we've really loved having you. And I know there's going to be so many people that have given feedback on the show today that'll be jumping on to purchase one of your books. So it is fantastic. And we can't wait for your affirmation cards to come out. And Jacinta's even shared here, make it an educational package, including books, cards, and teaching materials would be great. So I think that's another great insight.
Okay.
We're going to have you busy for the next 5 years, Patricia.
Oh my goodness.
You said retirement.
Yes. Thank you so much, Tonia. Thank you.
Thank you for your beautiful words of wisdom and your kindness that just absolutely, your energy just absolutely shines bright, and it's so wonderful to have you sharing your knowledge and your gorgeous book with us today. So thank you so much. It's been an absolute honour, and I know the feedback we've had from everyone on the show today has been great. Thanks everyone for joining us, and no doubt we're going to have Patricia back on. Francis has said, and we need some T-shirts, some Stargazer T-shirts would be great. The rabbit, beautiful. I agree. Francis, can you come on board and be our, inspirational person here? Because I'm just loving all these ideas that you're throwing at us. We love it.
Stargazer would love it if you like him on Facebook.
Beautiful. We'll have to share that link.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been an honour. And thank you to everybody for joining us, and we'll see you again on Thursday. Thursday we will have our extra show. Leading up to Christmas, we are doing Thursdays as well as Tuesdays to fit everyone in before Christmas. So, yay. Thank you, everyone, and thanks, Patricia. You're